The following text is adapted from Amy Lowell's 1912 poem, Summer. What we need to find out is the word avoid. What does this mostly mean in context? It is the summer, glorious deep-toned summer, the very crown of nature's changing year, when all her surging life is at full. To me alone, it is a time of pause, a void and silent place between two worlds. So it's a gap as opposed to being full. It's somehow missing something. When inspiration lags and feeling sleeps, gathering strength for efforts yet to come. I've read this poem before. It's a good poem. Empty. It is a time of pause and empty and silent space. It's a gap. It's a void. It's not useless, not forgotten, and it's not incomplete, although incomplete is something we might consider. It's a time of pause, a void and silent space between two worlds. So an incomplete and silence, well, we don't know as though it's incomplete. It's just empty. That's not a bad possibility, but I don't think it's quite right in the context, and it's not as good a definition for void. Forgotten, useless, those are adding context that's not necessarily here. As a young photographer in the 50s, William Klein, the conventions of photography, I'm going to say they always like to contrast, so bucked the trends or bucked the conventions of photography by creating images that were high contrast and included blurred and distorted elements, features generally seen as flaws. So he did something that was seen as a flaw. So he's definitely bucking the trend. So unorthodox, that's the key word. So what he's doing is unorthodox. That he had difficulty finding a publisher for his new iconic photo book. So he defied the conventions. He didn't respect them. He didn't prevent them. And he didn't review them. He defied them. He's bucking the trend. Archaeologists studying an ancient amphitheater in Switzerland believe that it dates back to the 4th century CE. Their discoveries of a coin made between 337 and 341 and era-appropriate building materials provide evidence for this theory. So they had some coins and some other things that suggested. So provide. There we go. Not dismiss, not regulate, not refuse. The following text is adapted from Lewis Carroll's 1865 novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. We want to know what does simply most nearly mean in context. The second thing is to find my way into that lovely garden. I think that will be the best plan. It sounded like an excellent plan, no doubt, and very neatly and simply arranged, not complex. Perhaps even well arranged. The one difficulty was, so no difficulty, that Alice had not the smallest idea how to set about it. So faintly, hastily, easily, foolishly. So to be simple would be to be easy, the opposite of difficult. In the 1960s, Sam Gilliam, a black painter from the southern United States, became the first artist to drape painted canvases into flowing shapes. He later explored a different style, quilt-like paintings inspired by the patchwork quilting tradition of black communities in the South. So he explored a different style, artist to drape painted canvases into flowing shapes. He later explored a different style, putting together creating quilt-like paintings, something to that effect. Predicting, refusing, hiding, creating. Researchers and conservationists stress that biodiversity loss due to invasive species is, for example, is growing, present, something we have an example of. People can take simple steps such as washing their footwear after, is avoidable maybe? So these seems to be steps to avoid biodiversity loss, such as washing their footwear after travel to avoid introducing potentially invasive organisms into new environments. So I think avoidable is the better answer. Preventable. Avoidable. Those are synonymous. Undeniable. Yeah, at first I thought it would be is existing, undeniable. But that's not the idea. The words and context afterwards suggest we can somehow avoid the activity or the action. So it's preventable. It's not common and it's not concerning.